Hello, thank you for joining us on a brand new episode 7 of Wavebeam, the official podcast of the Metroid database. My name is Ryan, also known as Infinity's End, and I have 4 members of the Metroid database staff with me. The first person here is Michael, and he's also known as James Pierce. Say hi, Michael.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening.
And next we have Philip, also known as Soggy, and you know him on Twitter.
Greetings.
And next we have our actual newest member of the Metroid database staff. We'll talk a little bit about what he's doing for us, but his name is Jarrett.
Hello, thank you for having me on this. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. And last but not least, we have Matt. Matt is a very long-time member of the Metroid database, and he has been helping us out on Facebook.
What's up, everyone?
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. So I'm sure anyone listening in will be very surprised that we're having this podcast. And of course, it's because of basically the biggest news we've ever got in the last 7 years. 2 major announcements. We have Metroid Prime 4 coming out who knows when, and we have Metroid Samus Returns coming out this year on September 15th, which basically blew our minds. They were keeping it secret from us all this time, and we're very, very excited, and that's basically what we're going to talk about. But before that, just to kind of have a warm-up here, I want to talk about what everyone's been playing lately. So it's definitely not been Metroid, I assume. So let's start with Philip. What have you been playing lately?
I just got myself Overwatch, and I played a lot of this game, like a main diva, having a lot of fun with it. Other than that, Fire Emblem Echoes, the new one, and I'm on my 5th run of Persona 5 currently.
Wow, 5th run.
Yeah, it's insane. I just can't stop.
Wow, that must be an awesome game. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I haven't played it.
Maybe I'm just crazy that way. I don't know. It's the kind of game I like.
Nice. Cool. All right, that's awesome. Let's move on to Michael. What have you been playing lately?
Pretty much just Fire Emblem Heroes these days.
Interesting.
With my work, I just get home, play a bit of Fire Emblem Heroes, bed, and all over again.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are in your situation. You know, if you don't have a lot of time to game, you just do it on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's move on to Matt. What have you been playing lately?
Well, I recently finished Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Nice.
It was an absolutely awesome game. Usually don't have a whole lot of time for gaming, so for me it's a lot of mobile. I play a game called Dungeon Link, which is a puzzle fighter type of game. And then I am also playing back through, what was the other Zelda? Zelda Twilight Princess.
Nice. Is it the HD version?
Yeah.
On the Wii U? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I have that too, and I think I got up to like through the 2nd dungeon, and then I just stopped, and I never looked back. I don't know what happened. Maybe some other games came out. Cool.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild took over for me, and then me and my kid are actually playing Twilight Princess. It's her first Zelda game, so I gotta finish it at some point.
Yeah. And how old is she?
She's 5.
Nice. So is she like giving you pointers? Or is it the other way around?
Oh no, she's very good at it. She's playing Wind Waker by herself, actually.
Oh wow, that's awesome. All right, let's move on to Jared. What have you been playing lately, man?
Well, actually, I got a Metroid fan game. I've been playing Rogue Dawn, which I've been really enjoying. I got a physical copy that I've been playing on my Nintendo, and really been enjoying it, even though it's has a lot of the old Metroid clunkiness to it. Still a lot of fun. A lot of good exploration, some good, some bad, but just really enjoying it.
Nice. Yeah, I actually helped test that game. I don't know if you knew that. You know, I worked on a few betas, and I was basically like, this game is too hard. Fix it.
It starts off really hard, and then once you find basically everything, then it just becomes way too easy.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the problem.
Yeah. That's like something what happens in Metroid 1. Like, it's so difficult, and then once you get like 100 or so missiles, it's just, and the screw attack basically, yeah, you can just like throw that game away. It's just easy after that. Yeah.
Right.
Cool, man. Yeah, I never beat it. I tried to play it a while, but I just kind of got frustrated with the challenge.
I almost did give up on it, but just doing the old trying a new area and seeing what I can finding various suit really helped out, because it just, the defensive perks of it, that helped a lot, and just finding enough energy tanks. And I just overall love the aesthetic of being like a bad guy in it, just screwing over people, and it's just not to spoil or anything, but there's a lot of stuff in it that's quite different from a traditional Metroid game, but still has that Metroid feel to it, so I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. For people who don't really know about that, it's a fan hack. It's a Metroid 1 fan hack. It's probably, I would say, it's probably the most intense and thorough Metroid fan hack ever made. It's completely overhauled all the graphics and added animated tiles and completely new level design and everything. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. It's called Metroid Rogue Dawn. Okay, I guess we'll just move on to me. I played a little bit of Metroid Rogue Dawn, but what I've been playing lately is Blaster Master Zero, which is freaking awesome. You guys have heard of it, right?
I have.
Yeah.
Heard of it, haven't played it.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's basically a remake of the very first Blaster Master that came out on the NES, and I've been playing on my 3DS. I think it came out for Switch as well, and maybe some other consoles, I'm not sure. But that's basically the biggest game I've been playing. I've also tried to go through Nier Automata. I haven't beat that yet. It's another just immensely huge game, kind of like Breath of the Wild is. And then I also tried to go through Final Fantasy 15, but then Breath of the Wild came out, so I had to put down Final Fantasy for a while, and who knows if I'll ever go back to that. But going back to Blaster Master, Blaster Master Zero is it's a Metroidvania. So it's, I mean, if you guys have never played Blaster Master, the first one, I would highly recommend playing Zero, because the balance, it's a lot more balanced, it's a lot more playable. The retro graphics are awesome, and it's just like your classic Metroidvania. You go around this map, it's all linked together. You find new power-ups, and you get more powerful, and then you can access bigger portions of the map. So the storyline is, of course, extremely cheesy. You're basically searching for your pet frog, and they kept the storyline, which was awesome. It's the same storyline as the NES version, but yeah, it's really great. I still have yet to beat it, but it's really fun. You should all check it out.
Cool.
And it's definitely worth the money. I think it was like $10 or $15, so y'all should get it. All right, sweet. So I guess now that we have that out of the way, we'll move on to what's been on the tip of everyone's tongue, which is E3. This past week was E3 week, which has been probably the biggest E3 in Metroid fan history, I would say. Considering the industry back in 2002 pales in comparison to what the industry is like now. So 2002 is, of course, when Fusion and Prime 1 came out, which were huge, and they were released after an 8-year drought, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. And now it's kind of a repeat of history. Before we start talking about Metroid specifically, though, I just wanted to kind of, put everyone out and say what non-Metroid stuff were you guys really impressed with? Anyone, go.
Okay. I pretty much liked Super Mario Odyssey. I think the trailer was excellent to show the mechanics of taking over enemies and not even enemies, but the environment, like electricity and stuff.
Yeah.
Very interesting, actually. So, yeah, that I liked pretty much. I think the Ubisoft presentation with Mario, what's the name? Mario Rabbit
Yeah.
Kingdom Battle?
Yeah.
Yeah. The XCOM style, I really like this XCOM style system. I'm not sure if it's a little too easy, but it looks interesting. I like the idea of turning some characters like Donkey Kong, for example, into bosses, like rabbit versions of them. And I'm kind of interested in that. Yeah. I'm not so sure with the rest. I don't know. I think Microsoft was pretty weak with the new console. I don't see really a reason to buy it.
The Xbox Sox?
Yeah, it's too it's too expensive. Two, it has not enough games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, the lack of exclusive titles. Yeah, why even bother?
Right.
For me, at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bethesda with everything needs to VR and okay, thanks. You know, we know Skyrim. Skyrim is a good game, and every year it's more Skyrim.
Yeah. Well, hey, Skyrim's on Switch now, right?
Yeah, I know. It's on Switch. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that because I only played probably about 5 hours on it. And so for me, I love Bethesda. I'm a Fallout fan. Never really been into their Elder Scrolls and such, but Skyrim is just the one that I really wanted to play. So now that it's coming on Switch and it's going to be portable for me, it's going to make a whole world of difference for me.
Yeah, I never even played it, so I actually don't have a Switch. And to go back on what Philip just said, like to me, I don't feel like that there's enough. There's just not enough there for me to actually want to buy a Switch yet. So I have the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild, and I was perfectly fine with that. So I'm just waiting, you know, at this point. But yeah, you were saying the Ubisoft. I mean, for me, the Beyond Good and Evil trailer was really the best thing I saw at E3. I mean, other than the Metroid news, but I thought that trailer looked just fantastic, even though it was just CG. You know.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I would say much better stuff about this if it wasn't just CG.
Right. If there was actual game
pre-rendered cutscene. What?
Yeah. But you know what? Oh, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'd agree with that, because, like, it sort of makes me think of back in, like, the PS2 days when graphics were still kind of crude, so they'd just throw up a CG, so everyone would think a game's just really cool and awesome. But in 2017, it doesn't really work for me.
Yeah. No, I understand. I and that makes perfect sense, and I totally agree with you. But hey, what did we get with Metroid Prime 4? We got a logo, and people flipped their shit. So
yeah, I was watching some of those reaction to the trailer, and man, just that feel of everyone feels the same way about this game coming out. They're just they're blowing up on it.
Well, before we start talking about that, we're going to talk about that next. Is there anything else about E3 that you guys were like really really surprised or excited for? Anything?
I'm ready for Kirby.
Oh God.
Kirby looks like it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, Kirby on Switch, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing for me, and the game may not end up being very good, but the Treehouse demo for that sushi game, I was just so, I guess, amused by it. It was just so crazy and outlandish.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I missed that completely. What's that one called?
It's something sushi, Way of the Sushido. It's kind of like a puzzle rhythm game, and you have all these conveyor belts with sushi on them, and you gotta connect all the different types of sushi.
Oh, Sushi
to, like,
Striker.
J-pop music.
Sushi Striker?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Wow, yeah, that is odd, man. So it's the sushi conveyor belt coming out, And oh yeah, it's like a rhythm game. Oh.
Yeah, a Rhythm Connect 3 type game, something like that. It's just crazy.
Wow, yeah. But the art style is like really cool. Huh.
I just find though, like the characters you play as, they look like crap, but like all your opponents, I think they look cool.
Yeah. Oh, Japan, I guess, is all you can say with that, right?
Oh yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, Mario Odyssey definitely looks cool. It kind of gave me a Space Station Silicon Valley vibe. Did anyone else play that game on the N64?
No.
No? Am I the only one? I used to own that game. It was one of Take-Two Interactive's first games, which I'm sure you all know. Take-Two also makes the GTA games, or they publish them, right? Take-Two Interactive, yeah. So that was one of Take-Two's first games, and it was basically this old ass N64 game where you played a microchip, and you were inside of this space station that was with a bunch of robotic animals, and you crash land on this space station, and you basically take over all the animals by, you're just this little microchip, and you jump into another animal and you possess them, and you have to solve puzzles. And it was a level-based game where you possess these animals and solve whatever puzzle with the animal. So
only in video games.
Only in video games, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, once I read about that hat mechanic that Mario had, it kind of reminded me of that, where you're just possessing everything that moves. So, yeah, it should be interesting for sure. I think we're going to take a break now, and we'll come right back. And after the break, we're going to just go crazy on Metroid. So, I will see you then. Okay, we are back from the very brief break, and we are going to just get started on talking about the biggest announcement ever! Metroid Prime 4. So, just to start off, basically, I was shit-talking on Twitter, literally minutes before the announcement of Metroid Prime 4. I don't know, for those of us who use Twitter, and for those of our listeners who are following us on Twitter, I was shit-talking. I was basically saying Nintendo is never going to release another Metroid game. They're not going to announce something. You guys are just hyping yourselves up. It happens every year. You get really hyped, and then nothing happens, and no Metroid games are announced. And it's probably not going to happen this year. And then minutes later, they showed the teaser trailer. So basically after that, I said, holy fuck, and, freaked out. So it was a pretty big freak out session for me. I was at work when it was happening. I was watching the live presentation on my other monitor. And I basically had to, keep my composure and do everything I could not to scream in front of everybody there when they showed it.
I lost my composure and I did scream in front of everybody there.
That's awesome. So you actually did? You actually freaked out?
Oh yeah, I have a standing desk and I slammed the standing desk down and I was like, yes! Oh my god, yes! And everyone, I work with a bunch of IT guys around me, so they all are like, E3? I was like, E3.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, my reaction was basically, I saw the space screen, normal space time. Just went, couldn't be.
Yes, yes.
Couldn't. Oh no, please don't. But I was thinking the whole time, please don't be Star Fox. Please don't be Star Fox.
Yes.
It's and then I saw the clowns forming, and I, yes! Basically, this was the reaction to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, as soon as I saw just a little bit of the blue cloud, I was like, that's a Metroid game. I don't know if it's going to be Prime, but that's a Metroid game they're showing.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be another Mario Galaxy game. I'm thinking they're going to announce two big Mario games at the same time because that's
I thought Star
Nintendo.
Fox. I seriously thought it was going to be Star Fox.
Yeah,
and then
same here.
Once the cloud started backing out, and then you get that Metroid Prime intro going, that was
with the
done.
4. Yeah. So at this point, I'm probably going to be playing, you know, some audio clips from the reactions because, you know, it's always fun to watch those reaction videos. I don't watch reaction videos as a rule, but, you know, I made an exception in this case, of course, for the Metroid announcement. And the best one that I saw was the guy that was like, let's go, let's go. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I saw that one.
So he's basically just like freaking out, like screaming at the top of his lungs in his bedroom. It's just hilarious. I love that guy. That's the best one I saw.
Danger.
The next segment is taken from a clip by YouTuber Legendary, and it gets pretty loud. So if you don't want to hear it, fast forward for about a minute.
What? Screen went black. Oh, fucking jeez. This is not what I think it is. Hold on. I'm gonna hold on to this. No, it's not. No, it's not! 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 Oh my god! Metroid Prime 4! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Metroid Prime 4! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Metroid Prime 4 is finally here!
Oh, go ahead.
I saw one at the Nintendo World Store where, you know, people were watching on a big TV.
Yes.
And they just lost their shit when that happened.
Yes. Yeah. When I saw that cloud in the shape of the S, I was like, this is it. I know this is it. And then I saw the 4. It was just, it was fantastic. Of course, you know, a little disappointing. That's all we got. We got a freaking logo. And hopefully, maybe later this year, maybe they'll actually show some, I don't know, some concept art. I mean, throw us a bone here, right, guys?
Well, I think the main reason they showed it was strategically, because if they had only shown Samus Returns, I think we all know there would have been a lot of people saying, hey, what the fuck's going on? Why is MercurySteam making this shitty Metroid 3DS game? But by showing that little teaser, they basically did away with all that.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, that's very possible because, you know, they want to get more people buying the Switch. So, you know, it incentivizes them to make sure that they, you know, they have something to look forward to in the future instead of just Breath of the Wild DLC forever, right? So, yes, well, do you want to actually, like, talk about Metroid Prime 4? Like, what it could happen? Like, I feel like, I mean, of course, I can't wait to play it, but I'm just kind of surprised because, you know, it seemed like Prime 3 put such a good closer on everything.
I think it put a good closer on, but at the same time, you know, all the fan theories are clamoring toward it being a Silex arc since, you know, at the very end of 3, that's what we get teased with.
Right. Right. Yeah, we saw that little ship at the, what is it, the Delano 7? I shouldn't know that, but I do. Yeah, we got that teaser at the end of MP3, but then also, like, that links back to Hunters, right? So yeah, it's very possible that Silex will make a return in this. And then Metroid Prime Hunters is called Prime, so at that point we can just, like, establish that the Prime style game, I mean, if it isn't obvious, is just a Metroid game that's in first person, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with Prime, right? Or Phazon, which I guess doesn't
right,
exist.
Exactly.
I'm pretty happy. I just apprehensive, I guess. Cautiously optimistic. No, I'm fucking hyped as hell, guys. I'm hyped as hell. I cannot wait for this shit.
Developer-wise, if Retro isn't doing it, what are your thoughts on this new development team taking it over?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty confident personally. I think it's an internal team, and since the developer it said was Nintendo, it's got to be their internal team, right? So this is the same team that made Breath of the Wild, the same team that worked on Super Mario Odyssey. There's a bunch of other games there. There's a Wikipedia entry on exactly what this team is and what games they've released since then, and it's actually been kind of 50-50, to be honest. Like, there's some not so good games, and then there's some, you know, brilliantly awesome games. So who knows what Nintendo does, you know, internally, how they kind of move their staff around. But I would assume that you know, all the right people would be put towards this game.
To be fair, though,
yeah,
a lot of those press sheets, they don't actually accurately show who's developing it. Like, with the Hey Pikmin press sheet, it also said developed by Nintendo. But we know it's being made by Arzest, so it's not a sure thing. It's being developed in Kyoto.
Okay, all right, that's a fair point. I would hope it is. I mean, if anything, I think you know, with Tanabe-san's his work on producing the game in the past, I'm sure that communication was a big factor, you know, and that was probably an issue for him, and maybe he was just like, I'd rather work with someone I can talk to in my own language, you know. So we'll see, though. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think people are a little bit cautious with the whole thing. That's not retro. But what people forget is back in the day when Prime came out, do you guys remember how it was?
Of course.
The people basically were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, even if you have a good studio, like 10 years since Prime 3, and okay, Tropical Freeze, and what was the other one called? Donkey Kong.
It was just Returns. It was
right.
Yeah, it was just Returns.
They were okay, but I'm not sure how many people are left from the original retro at this point.
Right.
So I think you don't think just because it's retro it would be like the best thing ever. Like, give another studio a chance. Like, we don't know anything at this point.
Yep,
right?
we don't.
So be careful with that. Don't panic.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of people who go, well, if it's not retro, it's not Prime, too. Because, I mean, Prime 1 through 3, they were amazing games done by a studio out of nowhere. And, you know, when you bring in number 4, you've set expectations that I hope that they can keep up with.
Yeah. I feel like the same thing happened, though, with Bungie and Halo. And I posted on the Facebook page, you know, when Halo basically went over to 343 Studios with Halo 4, people were just like, it couldn't be good because Bungie's not working on it, right? So no one knows, you know, no one really knows until we actually have the games in their hands. And then when Halo 4 came out, it got pretty good reception, if I remember correctly. So
I think regardless, though, of the quality of the game, there will always be some people who, just because it's not retro, it's just not gonna be as great as it really is to them.
Yeah.
You know, the studio is more important than the game itself.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but yes.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but I mean, it still happens with the 2D games. If it's not Super Metroid, it's not worth anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's so funny that you mentioned that, because the people that worked on Super Metroid, they made the Fire Emblem games, like Intelligent Systems. Does Intelligent Systems even exist anymore? Are they still around?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what are they making these days?
Pretty much only Fire Emblem games these days.
Okay.
Advance Wars was the other series, right?
Yes.
Advance Wars.
Yeah, they did that as well. And Paper Mario.
Okay. Yeah. So, but we don't really know exactly how much they worked on Super, right? Or do we?
My understanding is that Intelligent Systems, they mostly just did programming for the game itself. They didn't do course design or graphic design. It was all programming on their end.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, that makes sense. Okay, so they needed a little help, and they got a programmer that was capable, or two, that could work on the game. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to hold the game accountable specifically with the staff members. So, yeah, like, I doubt a single person from Retro, in regards to level design, is going to work on this new game, you know? That's my guess. It's probably a completely different team, and all they have is the old games. Fair. Yeah. So all they have to work off of are the old games, and we would hope that they would just look at everything that everyone loved about the old games and go from there. That's all we can hope for, I guess, at this point.
Mainly Prime 1, though.
Yes, Prime 1.
In my opinion.
Yeah, Prime 1's great, man. I mean, I played that game probably about 4 or 5 times, and it's still fun. You know, it's still a fantastic game.
It holds up amazingly.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
that's the best one. I mean, I would make the argument, I would just like to see the Prime 4 game be more like Prime 1, because Prime 3, I liked it a lot, but I just got sick of the motion control gimmicks, which I don't think will be a thing in this one, but... It might be.
Oh, they will be. You know, they will be.
They'll be
Switch.
Yeah.
They will use it. You know.
Yeah. They're incentivized.
Well, I think it'll be more like gyro, kind of like how Splatoon controls.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the one thing with Nintendo is if they have a gimmick on a system, they're going to utilize it, especially in their first-party software.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I think that the thing I didn't like about Prime 3 was the loading. Like, it was kind of jarring how you had to keep going in your ship and like switching planets and stuff. I didn't really like that. It took away from the immersiveness of the game. Even though it made it more, you know, vast and epic in scope, it kind of took away from the gameplay, in my opinion.
Yeah, it made it really hokey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it was still fun, and of course everyone loves Skytown because Skytown's beautiful. But yeah, it didn't really make it kind of a cohesive whole that we're so used to when we play these Metroid games.
And if it's anything like Breath of the Wild on Switch, I mean, there was still a lot of loading with that too.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to get away from the loading here.
So I guess we can stop there unless anyone has anything else to say about Prime.
Music composition. I know that, from what I've heard, Yamamoto-san is going to be doing Samus Returns, or did the composition arrangement.
Yes.
Have we heard anything on Metroid Prime 4?
No.
I don't believe so, no.
No, nothing. Nothing. So, yeah, right now it's literally the logo. That's all we got.
A beautiful logo.
Yeah, very beautiful logo.
My hope is that Samus Returns is far enough along that he can switch projects over to Prime 4, because, I mean, he did an amazing job with 1 through 3, and I'd love to hear him come back for the 4th.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I actually think the 2 composers, so Minako Hamano and as well as Kenji Yamamoto, are both working on Samus Returns. So those are the 2 original composers. They composed Super, and they also composed Zero Mission, and I think Fusion. So they all worked on those games together. So it's, yeah, I totally agree with you. I hope he can come back for the new Prime game. So did anyone else notice the incredible amount of Prime influence in terms of just visual design that Samus Returns has?
I don't think you could really miss it.
Right. Right. So yeah, so it was a very pleasant surprise that they totally took pretty much everything that was established in the Prime games, and they put all that design aesthetic into Samus Returns, right down to like the design of Samus. Like, I could not believe it. If you look at the old concept art for Prime 1, original Power Suit Prime 1 Samus, it looks exactly like she does in Samus Returns. So
she kind of looks like Dark Samus, no? The helmet?
The helmet, yes. I'm actually referring to the suit, though. Like, her suit, the shoulder pads and everything like that, it looks exactly like she does in Prime 1. It's got kind of a, they're larger, they're a little bit slanted down, and they're red. They have, like, this red fade to them. So if you guys, like, if you go on this website I've heard of, it's called the Metroid Database, and you look in our artwork section and go to Samus there's like this old concept art of Power Suit, and it looks just like that. So that was a very pleasant surprise. And then talking about the level design, the Chozo statues, they look just like lifted straight out of a Prime game. The enemies look like they're straight out of a Prime game. They literally look like they took the enemies from Prime, and then they took all the enemies from Metroid 2, and they, put a Prime skin on them. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's kind of, just the path of least resistance when going from 2D to 3D.
Yes.
And I'd say that art style is probably something that MercurySteam would be more comfortable with than going with a more fusion or zero mission style.
Right. That's a good point. And, but, you also have to think, like, look at Other M, right? So Other M's enemies were, like, they were kind of cartoony, don't you think? They were more of a kind of a bright, rainbowy style.
I felt they were more kind of like just, like Fusion or in Zero Mission, just put into 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they adhered more to the older style games, which well, maybe it's kind of harsh to say they were cartoony, but they were more just vibrant and kind of less realistic looking. Whereas
didn't get that grungy feel to it.
Yes, exactly. And then the the Samus Returns, they look more grungy there. And speaking of MercurySteam, has anyone else played Mirror of Fate?
That's the Castlevania game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah, I played it as well. I have it in my Steam catalog, and I played it for a little bit, and I never beat it. But I wouldn't say it's bad. It wasn't the greatest Castlevania game ever, but it certainly wasn't shitty, right? So I don't understand why people were kind of sad or pissed off or disappointed with MercurySteam.
Yeah, I don't understand, because I've actually played, or I'm in the middle of playing Lord of Shadow, actually, and the first one, and I actually absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. So
I think with MercurySteam, though, they got a lot of extra flack because they were pretty much the end point for Castlevania, but it happened before we had the whole Konami implosion, so people couldn't really view their games within that later context.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than, be... where everyone now is like, oh, fuck Konami, they're just ruining everything. Back then it was, oh, fuck MercurySteam.
Yeah.
They ruined Konami's baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not their fault. No.
Right. It was pretty much already ruined at that point, though. It was like everyone wanted the Demon Castle War game. They wanted the game where you could play as Julius Belmont killing Dracula once and for all. Everyone still wants that game, maybe MercurySteam will work on that after Samus Returns, but you never know. I do feel like they're getting a bad rap for no reason at all, and it's not deserved. They don't deserve it.
Well, I think people have a tendency to sort of I don't know. I guess people tend to hammer developers and stuff, but kind of out of proportion, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, they're games. Are they really worth that much anger and vitriol?
Of course not. And it's unnecessary drama. And of course, it's the internet, so everyone on the internet is so dramatic about everything. Yeah, I tend to kind of shy away from responding to that kind of stuff, because in the end, 9 times out of 10, I would say even further than that, no one knows anything about anything. And they pretend that they do, but they don't. They don't know anything about development. They don't know anything about that game's development. And they certainly don't know anything about the internal conversations that happen with the people that are working on the game. So it's really not fair to judge a game before it's even come out at all. It's just not.
At least not purely on the development.
Right.
Like, you can judge it on trailers. I think some gameplay trailers, you can judge a few aspects of a game.
Yeah.
But just if you say, oh, the developer. Not in all cases, like I said before, like, it changes. The staff changes within in a few years, and yeah, you never know. Also, just based on the trailer, it looks just great.
It does.
MercurySteam, why not? You know.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did any of you download the trailer for it on the 3DS eShop?
Oh, I forgot I could do that. Is it cool?
I have the 2DS, so it.
Okay, would make
Point
any
of
difference
3D.
for you? Yeah. But if you have it on a regular 3DS, you can actually play it in 3D as how the game would look.
Nice.
And it looks really nice with that nice 3D cavernous effect.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, and pretty much, unless the game is like flat out 2D and nothing but 2D, a lot of times when people release screenshots or video of 3DS games, since the technology really isn't the greatest, I'm doing air quotes, but it just doesn't translate well to seeing it on a monitor. But then when you actually see it in the actual 3DS screen, it looks fine. And I guess that's what you should care about. You know, you should care about what it looks like on the screen instead of, you know, what you're watching on your completely different hardware. Yeah, so that's cool. I will definitely check out that trailer. And as far as Metroid 2 goes, I noticed there's some themes like the original theme from Metroid 2, the very first song you hear, that's back in the game. The level design is kind of loosely based on Metroid 2. And there's just so many things that it's really the game we've all been wanting, right? You know, do you all agree with me on that? I feel like everybody has wanted this game.
I mean, one of the hardest things about playing a classic Metroid is the frustrations of still getting lost, of, you know, having to pull out the batteries for the Game Boy and stuff like that. So for me, being able to get a reimagination of Metroid 2 is it's been long overdue. So this is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I started with Metroid 2. I wanted to remake, an official remake of this game a long time ago, because Metroid 2 has some issues.
Yep.
And I think, like there's no map feature, for example.
Right.
And refill stations are pretty rare in this game. And I think those things are fixed pretty good. And I think you have, like, what was the other thing? The lack of music in the original was... I mean, the main theme is very good, right? And you have this other theme in the Queen's Lair, like the last part of the game. But other than that, you have those, like, beep, quietsch, like some sounds, and I know what they are going for.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be atmosphere and like wildlife, and but okay, I just want to listen to the good old Metroid music. You know?
Sure.
I just want it.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare Metroid and Super Metroid and anything after, Metroid 2 really doesn't have that immersive sound that the rest of them have.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, of course, we all know that the Game Boy is perfectly capable of handling awesome music, but they went in a completely different direction for whatever reason. Maybe it was budget, maybe it was time constraint, who knows. But yeah, the game itself, like Metroid 2, what is really weird to me is the fact that in all this time, even though Metroid 2 is kind of like everyone, I mean, of course, this was before Other M came out, it was like the black sheep. And people would be like, "Oh, yeah, Metroid 2's not that good. You can skip it." Right? But it's still good. It's still a good game, you know?
Like, this drives me crazy. This it's the black sheep argument. Oh, like, I love Metroid 2, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I love that this is a little bit more horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
In some way. I love the Metroids themselves, their evolutionary line.
Yeah.
Their different forms and all that.
Right.
Like, it feels, I think, the most like an Alien movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, what this is really proving, though, the fact that they actually went back and remade this game, it's proving that Metroid 2 is a great game. You know, it's showing that even though it has, you know, a lot of limitation and kind of might not, its legacy might not be as good, the game itself is still legit. You know, it's still a functional, decent design that was able to last up until this point, and they were able to just take that's old design and improve upon that, and it's still going to be a great game. So it kind of it firmly, in my opinion, it firmly makes Metroid 2 the greatest, one of the best Metroid games. You know, it's right up there with the original trilogy. So I feel like Metroid 2 is better than Metroid 1 in some aspects.
I mean, if you look at it as a trilogy, it's one story. So, and that was a complete story from Metroid NES to Super Metroid.
Yes.
And it was, and even Zero Mission. If you throw Zero Mission in there with the added story, and then I'm hoping with Samus Returns that the story gets extended a little more, or at least some more backstory, because that's really what the Game Boy was missing, is that ability to dwell further into that background.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had instruction manuals, right?
True, but we didn't see like the science team that went down on the planet.
No,
like
none
the
of
rescue
that.
team and the other rescue team.
Yeah. Right.
Like and stuff like that. I think we saw some GS troopers in the trailer. Like not alive, obviously. But
right.
I think saw them in the background.
Yeah. There's a few like dead troopers in the background. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there are still some questions about like the planet SR388. Like, I mean, you obviously, the reason for the Metroids are the X, right?
Yep.
And like, but how? I mean, there was still a chosen civilization on that planet at some point. So what exactly happened? Like, did they leave and just left the Metroids roam free, or did the Metroids free themselves and they like, what exactly?
No one knows. No one knows. I am totally right there with you. Like, are they going to talk about that? Are they actually going to depict some kind of, like, dare I say it, flashback? You know, like, would people freak out about that? Who knows?
Well, then maybe we can see it like in the background. Like I think Metroid is always very good in storytelling with the environment. You see even in the trailer that they use cutscenes, a few. Like if Samus sees like a new Metroid species, you see a short cutscene introducing it.
Right.
That's basically like what Prime 1 did.
Yeah, and Zero Mission. Zero Mission did that as well.
Yeah, Zero Mission. Yeah, the red light scene, for example. Right? Yeah, and I think you can tell with that, with just a short cutscene, you can tell a lot. Even with just something in the background.
Yeah.
Like if we see, for example, a dead Chozo somewhere.
Yeah.
We know that wasn't normal. What happened there, right? Like, we know something must have happened.
Right.
It wasn't like planned.
Yep.
I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Yeah. I not to bring up another Metroid 2 remake, aka AM2R, but I feel like they're going to bring back Ceres from Metroid Fusion. How do you guys feel about that? Any takers? No one?
Did you see a water section? Not really.
Well, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be.
Fire, water, ice.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, actually, the thing I thought was ice was actually crystal.
Oh.
So, who
Huh.
knows?
Yeah.
It could be that they used Ceres. After all, he was on board of the station
Yeah.
fusion. So yeah, could be.
Right. And maybe they'll bring back Nightmare, right? Like, because they clearly.
Nightmare.
Love Nightmares.
Well,
I
that's
don't-
just it. I mean, Fusion, the bottle ship was SR388 environments.
Yeah.
So, they have a huge world that we can now explore on the 3DS. And they've got a lot of potential to be able to build in that backstory.
Wait,
what
Matt.
the Game Boy couldn't give us.
Matt, I hate to correct you, man, but that was Zebes. That was Zebes, wasn't it? They took all the
no,
creatures.
SR388.
No, they took. No, it was Zebes.
Zebes.
It was
Ship
Zebes.
was Ceres.
Battleship was Zebes, man. You're thinking the BSL station on Fusion.
Yes. There was
Yes,
the area.
you're right. You're absolutely right. That's my fault. We have so many different ships
problem.
and everything
Yeah.
that's duplicates of everything else.
Right.
It's confusing.
But you're absolutely right that enemies from Fusion, because the game tells you the enemies are from the planet,
Yep.
like bosses or something, could return in some way, some wildlife.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you guys want to talk about AM2R? Maybe just briefly.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
You,
Why?
you know that's
if-
that's going to be the huge thing that people compare
Yeah.
Samus Returns with is
Sure.
well,
Yeah.
it's not AM2R.
Well, they already are. They
Oh
already
yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we can kind of quickly talk about it. It's pretty obvious at this point that Nintendo shut down AM2R because of this game. And what's kind of funny to me and almost like embarrassing is why didn't anyone pick up on that? Like in all that time, which was it was released in what, October? In October, and then we got shut down like 2 days later, something like that. Why didn't anyone come to the conclusion?
I mean,
People were just really upset at that time. I mean, you had Federation Force come out, and people were basically just, fuck everything then.
Yeah.
Nobody was thinking logically at that time.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear a few people mention that they thought that it was because of that, but those conversations never went anywhere because they were so wrapped around the fact that Nintendo took it down.
Yeah.
And then they gave us Federation Forces, and people are still sore about Metroid Other M. So,
Yeah.
it was this whole cacophony of stuff.
Right.
well, in all fairness, they also shut down the Pokemon Uranium, right?
Yes.
Pokemon Uranium.
Yep.
And that's
And
because
also,
like what, 2 new Pokemon games are around the corner?
okay, you could say that. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
But, they went against some sides, like some modding sides. and
Right.
I don't know. I don't hold it against anyone.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, no.
But, that's what they do to protect their IPs. Though.
Right.
So,
Right.
for us as wanting something and them taking it down, they're the bad guys for doing this. We're not thinking that, oh, well, maybe they got something in development.
Yes.
If you look
exactly.
at Sega, Sonic Team, they don't usually take down Sonic remakes or hacks or anything like that.
Yeah. Right, but like with Nintendo, they clearly do, but only when it's going against their interests. I feel like from now until whenever in all of gaming history, when it comes to Nintendo, when they shut down these fan games, they're probably going to make something that's very close to equivalent, and they don't want that even there. They don't want it on the market. They don't want that competition. And of course, no one could have really predicted. I think maybe someone could have predicted. Maybe someone already did predict that they were developing this, but it just seems to me like the only reason they stepped in is because that was in development, and otherwise they would have not done a thing.
I also think, though, that because there was so much buzz around the game itself, it sort of put itself on a silver platter for them. I think if it was more hush-hush, it would have gone down fine. Because, like the Fire Emblem community, they make, fan games all the time, and I've never heard of one being taken down.
Huh.
Fire Emblem is still an annual franchise, but, they just keep it on the down low and everyone stays happy.
Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, of course, no one really knows, but for example, not to be egotistical or anything, like the Metroid database has been around for almost 21 years, and they've never shut us down, right? Ever.
Yeah.
So we have hosted shit tons of fan art, or not fan art, all the concept art. We have the name Metroid in our name. We have done so many things. We have pretty much every song, every game soundtrack ever released, all on our site. We have never been shut down.
The fact that the music hasn't been taken down absolutely surprises me, honestly.
I know, right? Yeah, no one has ever said anything to us, and it's kind of like this YouTube copyright bullshit that keeps going down. You can find pretty much all the music to all the Metroid games on YouTube as well if you wanted to, and I'm sure a lot of those were probably just stolen right off our website and uploaded to YouTube. But yeah, we have in all intents and purposes, we have had so much copyrighted material on our website in all this time, and never a peep from Nintendo, because we don't directly infringe upon their interests. Their interests are creating and releasing and producing and developing and making games, and we're not making games. So I guess that's where the line is kind of drawn. You know what I mean?
I mean, the MDB really is a community, though. It's not, it's not somewhere people go to still music and
right.
We interact with each other. So
right.
And we provide so much content, so much news when there is news, and it's a place for all of us to go. Period.
Yeah. And if it did, heaven forbid, if Nintendo did do anything to shut us down, people would riot. Like, there would be so much massive anger towards Nintendo. More than AM2R, I think. Like, even when I did the April Fool's joke where we were dead, people were just screaming and crying. So it's good to know that we're loved throughout the Metroid community. And we thank you for that.
I think if they would shut us down, it also would, basically every fan community would basically just go up the walls.
Yeah.
Because then everybody would be in danger, right?
Right.
So,
think of how many Zelda fan sites are out there. There's,
right.
So many. And they keep, they stick around. Jared, was there anything you were going to say?
Well, I was kind of thinking about, I don't want to name any particular sites. You may know them off the top of your head, but there's so many different websites that offer, fan games and hacks that you can just go and download. I'm surprised they never get attacked, or to my knowledge, they never were attacked when AM2R was out. And I believe a certain one, again, I don't want to name it, had it, and they never suffered any consequences. It's just shocking that Metroid Database did get attacked by it.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of these websites that host tons of fan games, I think these are the ones that are going to take the hit first before a community-driven site with just information is going to take the hit.
Yeah.
See, I'd have to disagree, though, because those sites, you take down one, the rest of them are there. But the MDB really is a catch-all for all of the Metroid stuff, and it is a legit... They probably view it as one of the most legit sources to get fan reactions on things.
Yeah.
So having AM2R on that site, that would directly impact them more than some of these other pirating sites.
I don't disagree with that at all. It completely makes sense. I'm just shocked that there are so many just different foundations to be able to go out and download these fan games. I mean, there are thousands of them. Just even whether they're super polished or just simple horror games based off Metroid or Zelda or whatever. They do exist, and I know once you take one down, the file is still going to roam the internet.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think it's just kind of bizarre. That's all I'm saying. I completely understand why they sometimes do what they do, but I just think it's bizarre that there's still these sites that openly host and allow you to download these games, and they make a database of it completely. That's what I just think is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think I know the website you're talking about, Jared. Michael,
aren't some of those websites though? Aren't they hosted? Some of them, at least, in countries where they don't have such strict copyright laws, so they're kind of untouchable, though. Because
I'm not sure.
Like I noticed, like a lot of like manga scanlation sites, they're hosted like Montenegro, and there's nothing you can do about them, so they just have to leave them be.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. You brought that up. Well, that's just another thing we have on the website, right? We have like all the manga and comics ever released ever in Metroid history. Every single one of them, we have it on our site, and no one has said anything to us.
And that is amazing.
It is.
Yes, it is.
It is. And like,
but I mean, would they realistically bring some? Well, okay, so they did bring the Zelda, so I mean, they could bring it, but I mean, now there's no reason to.
Right. There's no reason to do it, and yeah, like I feel like the only time where the Metroid manga, the original one, that was scanlated by Snoopy Cool, which Matt was a part of, the only reason they would have ever brought that over here to the West was when Zero Mission came out. And they just didn't. They lost that opportunity. They didn't care. Maybe manga just wasn't big at the time. What year was that? 2004? I mean,
something like that.
Yeah, like manga just wasn't big, and now it's huge. I know there's a huge market out there for manga, and that's probably why they brought the Zelda ones out over here. And you can find those very readily available, the Zelda mangas. But you know, speaking of that, why hasn't anyone re-released the Super Metroid Nintendo Power comic?
That's what I'm wondering. I have the Zelda one, and I'm wondering why they haven't released that yet.
Right, or the Star Fox one. I mean, those are awesome fucking comics. Like, I would love to have a re-release of those in kind of a bound volume. It would print money!
Nintendo doesn't care about printing money. They just want to do what makes them happy.
Yeah,
money's not the same.
I guess, man.
At this point.
Obviously, Jesus. Because, you know, let's just make Amiibos, you know? If there's one example of, you know, them printing money, it's this Amiibos. It's just like, man, well, I guess that's our next segue here. Let's talk about Amiibos. Are you guys, are you excited about the new Amiibos?
I am excited. I'm especially excited on this Metroid Broken Capsule one, because I'm curious how that. Usually the Amiibos tie into the game somehow, so I'm curious where that goes in with the game.
Yeah, exactly. And
I feel the same about that. Also, I love that it's squishy. Like, I love such small details.
Right.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah, exactly. But what this is kind of going to show is Metroid still a niche game? You know, like, are we going to be able to just go into any GameStop on any given day and then, oh, look, there's the Metroid Amiibo just sitting right there on the shelf? What's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like, we're not going to be able to just walk right into a Toys R Us and see, oh, look, there's the Metroid Amiibo right there. No!
I mean, just look at the Samus Returns Special Edition. It's almost, it's basically gone everywhere.
Yeah.
I actually lucked out and went out to one of my far-off GameStops and was able to pre-order mine, but they're sucking them all up.
Yep. And I haven't been able to even do anything because, well, beyond hating pre-order culture, the only place I usually buy games at these days is either Amazon or eBay. And the Amazon listing has never been available for the special edition. So there is a listing, but it's just a placeholder in it. You know, you can't actually place the pre-order on the Amazon page. So I've just been waiting for them to, you know, allow you to do that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
reading on their emails still too.
Yeah, I'm on that email list, and I know you could have bought the special edition on GameStop and Best Buy, but again, I don't really support those companies per se. I want to use my Amazon, right? So that's why I've been waiting, and the same goes with the Amiibo. I think they changed their policy, and you actually cannot pre-order the Amiibos anymore on Amazon for whatever reason.
I know GameStop. They had their pre-orders up on the website, and then they actually changed it according to them to where you have to actually go in and pre-order it now. You can't do it online.
Oh, you have to walk in?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And that was I believe because of there was a game that just came out. I think it was like an Animal Crossing or something where the pre-orders were snatched up online almost instantly.
Yeah.
And so many people were upset about it that GameStop came back around and they're like, okay, well, we're only going to do in-store pre-orders now.
Huh. Yeah, well, that makes sense. But it's still kind of annoying. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited. I know, for example, to kind of give a comparison, the World of Nintendo small Metroid, the mini Metroid figure, you can't find them. You can't find them anywhere. And they sold at Walmart, right, for however long. And the only way you can really get them is on eBay from scalpers that are charging you like $20 for the tiniest little piece of plastic. It's so stupid.
Very annoying it is, yes.
Yeah. And I wish it wasn't like that, but I do feel like, it kind of shows that there's this huge fan base of Metroid, but they don't acknowledge it. Like, I just don't understand. Like, it's probably maybe not as big, but just as big as like Mario, right? Maybe not as big as Zelda, but just as big as Mario, wouldn't you think?
Nintendo doesn't
Mario's
understand it,
pretty
though.
big.
Nintendo just does not understand it because I know Ryan knows that I'm over at the First Four Figures site quite often.
Yeah.
And Alex he's the owner of First Four Figures. He just got done meeting with Nintendo, and Nintendo, they're talking to him they want to know why Metroid is so popular because they don't understand why it's so popular.
I might know of a website. I might know of a website that maybe kind of proves why Metroid is good. Just a thought. Yeah, that's really odd. You would hope that they would have a better, I don't know, a more established way of understanding their fan base, and where the market is driven. You would hope that they would have analysts. They probably have one analyst. They're like, yeah, Federation Force didn't sell that well. People don't really like Metroid, I think. What? No.
Time to cut the franchise.
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, they look at Japan and they see less cell numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they go, nah. Well,
Right.
if that's your priority, if you think Japan is your priority, Europe and America can go, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Those games, Metroid, seems almost perfect for a Western audience.
Yeah.
I mean, the Alien comparison is, of course, it's inspired by Alien, but that's specifically something we are very interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have Monster Hunter has established itself over the time, but we are not that JRPG crowd for the most part. We love those exploration, those action adventure style games. This is very Western, so I always think it's good if they also seek Western help and developers to basically make it more appealing for the West. Because, okay, sure, it doesn't sell in Japan, that sucks, but if you can sell it somewhere and you can sell it good, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, and that goes vice versa. There are, I don't know, just countless amounts of games that Nintendo never even brought over here that sold very well in Japan only. And, you know, we not living in Japan don't really know how many games out there are, but yes, there's a lot of games that never even came out over here that sold well that they just didn't really care to localize. So it kind of goes both ways.
And if they localize, they like if it's some like what was the name? Fire Emblem, this cross game, Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei.
Yes.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like in the localization process, they cut so much stuff. Like it's a weeb game, you know, like for tacos, right? Why would you cut that stuff? That's a terrible idea. Like the only people that really want that.
Yeah.
And you cut that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. Like localization with Nintendo is it's a pain sometimes.
Well, I feel like that's a whole nother conversation. We probably shouldn't go down that road.
True. A very long conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, I guess we should just wrap it up. We've gone on almost an hour here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Melee counter is fun. I don't know. I like the melee counter in the new Metroid.
Oh yeah,
I do like the fact that
we didn't talk about it.
I know. I mean, there's so much to talk about. You know, honestly, we'll probably have our own episode. You know, after this, we'll have a specific Samus Returns episode. If you guys are down for that.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
We could, you know, run the treehouse while they're playing it and do the commentary or whatever.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I did want to mention one last thing. So I mentioned at the very beginning that we have a new staff member. His name is Jared. And Jared is our new web programmer. And the reason we brought Jared aboard is because Jared is helping us redesign the entire website. And the estimated time for arrival of this is our birthday, so that's October 16th of this year. I'm hoping that it will be done by then. I can't make any promises, but I'm really looking forward to working with Jared on getting the new website made. This has been kind of a dream of mine to have this done for at least, I don't know, the last 5 or 7 years or so. So thank you for volunteering and coming aboard the team, Jared.
No problem. I've been enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun building this website, and I hope you guys enjoy the finished product. And going forward, I hope we can make it really awesome together.
Sweet, man. Yeah, like Jared and I have been actually having conversations, weekly meetings. And we've kind of established that there are literally shit tons of content. And it's just, I mean, when you think about it, there's 20 years of Metroid content on our website that we basically have to filter through and make new again. So with your help, I am hoping to make that reality.
It should be very possible very soon. Just getting some of the things developed and set up, we can start getting content pushed over and making it look awesome and accessible for users to go and see all the new Metroid stuff. So
yeah, awesome. Well, maybe we can release before the actual game comes out. I don't know. That's September 15th. That's I don't know. We probably shouldn't put any time slot on it, but hopefully we'll get it done this year, and it'll be great. And it'll be just the perfect time to celebrate the new Metroid games. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
New games, new toys, new website.
I know.
Exciting.
I know.
Very sweet.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about or mention? Anything?
It's a great time to be a Metroid fan.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yes. It really is. And, you know, it's as much as we bitch and complain about Nintendo forgetting about the Metroid fans, every so often they come back and they just, they're like, we still love you.
Yeah.
Just a little.
And all is forgiven. All is forgiven at that point. Yeah.
At least for another 5 years.
Right. Yeah, when we have another 5 to 10 year drought.
Hey, but the games are so good and so complete that I can't help but go back almost every year and play through Prime 1 through 3, or do my annual Super Metroid run. So I mean, the replayability on these games is just amazing. So
yeah,
I can have this love-hate relationship, I think.
Yes, it is definitely a love-hate relationship with them. Yeah. So and I mean, that's a great point, man. Like the just replaying these games, and they still hold up, and they're so timeless. It just, it kind of proves how good the design of a Metroid game is. Well, I guess that's it, guys. Once again, thank you all so much for coming on board. I had a lot of fun, and we'll see you next mission. Thanks for listening to Episode 7 of Wavebeam, the official podcast of the Metroid database. The music you heard during today's episode is none other than Metroid Metal, and those tracks can be found over at metroidmetal.com. For all your up-to-date information on Metroid news and more, our site can be found at metroiddatabase.com, and we're also found on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, DeviantArt, and Instagram. Due to the 5-year hiatus between 6 and 7, I wanted to assure everyone that more episodes are planned in the near future. Thanks for listening.